everyone. So I wanted to make a quick video here about the concept of transcendence, and specifically when we're talking about transcendence as a real applicable way to deal with your day-to-day life. Now, normally in life coaching, when we talk about dealing with things, we talk about things individually. So you could have a lack of motivation or anxiety issues, self-doubt, relationship problems, and so on. And generally, the idea is, okay, let's tackle all of those things individually. But that doesn't necessarily give us the result that we're looking for. So a good example of that is anxiety. If you suffer from anxiety or social anxiety, the solution to that is typically and logically that you need to feel that you have more control. If you feel that you have more control, then there's less reason to be anxious. And so that works to a certain degree, right up until life proves you wrong. As soon as your idea of control starts to fade, your anxiety comes back, and it comes back even worse. Another good example is addiction. If you're addicted to a particular substance, typically the idea is, okay, my life will be better if I can just abandon that one particular substance. And to some degree that will be true, but you're not addressing the reason that the addiction to that substance manifested. And so the obsession actually ends up just being transferred to another part of your life. So rather than looking at these things individually, my perspective is that they are not individual problems. They are in fact results of a mentality that you have learned to use and adopt over a lifetime out of necessity. And because it's been out of necessity, you focused more on the benefit that mentality provides, and then you look at the consequences as individual problems that need to be addressed or fixed or coped with or anything like that. Now, my perspective is if you address the root mentality, the problems become irrelevant and they disappear on their own. Now, this is very much in line with Albert Einstein's quote that a problem cannot be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Our point here is to move beyond the mentality that we're currently in. And to do that, we have to accept that it is not human nature. And that is often how we justify it. How we look at the world and how we perceive ourselves, that's just part of human nature. There's no getting out of that. Well, I disagree. Suffering is not meant to be an intrinsic part of human nature. If it was, life would not be worth living and none of us would be here. So my point is this. If you are tired of dealing with the consequences and trying to chase your own tail around and around and around without ever actually feeling like you're getting out of that, then it's time for you to look not just at the benefits of the mentality that you've adopted, but the consequences as well. And if you can look at the benefits and the consequences without attaching it to yourself in terms of self-image, without any blame or judgment, but actually just look at it for what it is, well, then your context will widen, your perspective will widen, and you will discover that the mentality that you exist within is not human nature. It's an accumulation of things that you've adopted over time, and that it can actually be changed and transcended. And that's the whole point, is understanding that while your current mentality does have its uses, your overcommitment to it is actually what's causing the consequence. And you cannot get rid of the consequence without getting rid of the overcommitment. And that requires, again, a wider perspective and exposure to a different way of living in the world. And that is very much all that transcendence is about. It's not about simply coping. It's not about simply trying to balance out your problems. It's about moving to a mentality where those problems become irrelevant, where they just fade away. It's not a conflict. It's not a fight. It's just abandoning who you thought you were so you can experience an entirely new you. And that's it. So if you have any questions, as always, leave a comment or get in touch with me. I'm always happy to talk about this. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I look forward to talking to you again. Take care.